Okay guys, I'm back. We're gonna do something slightly more complicated than the spicy grilled ham and cheese. Right now I've got like, I don't know, 8 cloves maybe of garlic in my wok that I'm frying up, trying to just get crispy, being careful not to burn it per se. And what I just did before that was, this is like 3 big shallots chopped up and then fried, so same thing, to kind of like get a different taste, fry it ahead of time. Once this garlic's done, I'm just gonna put it in this bowl and save it to be added later. So that's looking pretty good. I think we're gonna call that. Okay, so next we're gonna talk about pork belly. This recipe calls for a pound pork belly. I usually just try to find a package just a little over. If you've never worked with pork belly, which is obviously you've probably eaten it, it's super good. It's a pain in the ass. So getting it like super cold, like almost like a little frozen, is the best way. Because for this recipe, we want like thin strips. Like really, this piece this way is even a little bit too thick. But we're gonna just go with it and just cut these thin little strips. And that's a real pain in the ass if this stuff is warm, because it's basically bacon. So, you know, just imagine like how much of a pain in the ass it would be to work with warm bacon. But you can see here, like when it's partially frozen, it actually chops pretty easy. And that's pretty much what we're looking to do here, is just get this thing into some nice thin slices, because we're gonna brown it real quick before we kind of put it into this pot to make the Roa Phan. And yeah, that's kind of my advice on pork belly. You're probably gonna have to get this at the Asian market. If you do, look and make sure that the skin doesn't have any hairs left in it. Usually the butchers there will trim it so it's not like this. I got a crappy pack, so I had to trim it, but I've worked with it before, so it's not that bad. But yeah, that's my talk on pork belly. All right, so we've got our pork belly prepped. We've got our ground pork out. We got like our seasonings that we'll talk about. Water we'll need, soy sauce we'll need, other various things we're gonna need in a second. But we're gonna start by getting our meat going. So with the ground pork and with the pork belly, we're just really trying to get the pink out. You know, just brown it. We got just a little bit of olive oil in this pan, and we haven't cleaned the pan from when we did the garlic or the shallots. Keep some of that flavor in there. Sorry, I washed my hands about 100 times when I cook. I'm like obsessive about it, unfortunately. So yeah, you know, just keep this moving around. You guys know how to cook meat, obviously. But this is out for a reason. We're gonna start adding all our ingredients in here, because this is essentially like a thick stew meat, almost like the consistency of a chili. And it's just real nice to eat for lunch or whatever, like over a bowl of rice. And we'll talk about the hard-boiled eggs. We do basically a hard-boiled egg that goes in here and sucks up the juice and makes it brown, and it's fucking delicious. This part's kind of boring. I don't know how much of this I'll show you guys, because obviously, like I said, we're just trying to chop this up and brown it. I actually usually salt this just a teeny bit. You don't want to go crazy, just flavor the meat a bit. And then we add a bunch of this later, but this is white pepper. Stuff is great if you don't have this in your kitchen. Go to the local Asian market though, because it'll be super expensive at the local white guy market. And same thing, we're adding a bunch of this later, but I just like to put a little on here to flavor the meat. So again, most of the pink is gone here. This has a boatload of time, like if you're sketched out about like medium rare pork, don't worry, this stuff, it gets so much time to cook under really hot temps. So to me, that's like done. So we're gonna basically get this prepared and just start adding everything right in there. And you want all the juices and all that jam right in there. If there's little scraps left, it's no big deal. And then you're gonna go right to doing your pork belly. So I would go a little bit more oil, just to help with the pork belly. And the other thing with the pork belly is you got probably quite a bit of it, so you can't do it all at once. So we're gonna do probably half and half. I also, after I mentioned it needs to be like cold to cut, I kind of let it defrost a little bit more. That's about half. So again, I'm trying not to show you guys too much here, but it's really just the same thing we just did. You know, keep it moving around in your wok, just get it brown. Oh, this is another thing, like if you buy a wok at some white person shit, it's gonna be expensive. I think this was $15 at an Asian market. It's not the best wok, but you can beat the shit out of it and not care. Albany dudes, you got two good Asian markets, one really good one, and the really good one is right next to CB's house. So you can go to the Asian market and stock up your house and go visit CB. So it's like it's a pretty rad 2-for-1 there. So you can see we're actually already getting there. This we got to like make sure that pieces didn't get stuck together and you don't have any pieces that are super uncooked. Again, it's okay if they're still a bit pink, because like I said, they're gonna go in back into here. You'll see down the road like how much time it has to actually finish cooking. The other thing is this, I'll tell you, this is a little big. I kind of wish I split these in half maybe, but that's okay. Big bites is pretty chill. It'll be yummy. And there, that's looking pretty good. So again, we're gonna just get that right in, and I won't bore you with the next batch, but like I said, we're gonna go right to the next batch and come back in a sec with the next step. All right, so we got all our meat in the pan. And you want to just kind of make sure you mix up your pork belly and your ground pork. All right, at this point, my dumb spatula I like is not really. I'll go to something like this. Okay, so you get that. Next, you've got your dry ingredients. 5-spice, white pepper, brown sugar. You'd be surprised how much sugar is in a lot of Asian recipes. right, you get that kind of stirred around. Like I said, white pepper is great to have, period. Five spice is in lots of stuff. It's cheap, especially if you buy it at the Asian market. This is another good one if you want to start getting into various Asian cooking. It's cheap. Get it, bring it in, get it at the Asian store. Go visit CB, buy it there. In a second, we're gonna add a whole heap of soy sauce. I like to go with the less sodium one, so you're not just blasting your fucking self with salt. The hardest thing to buy that you're not going to use much. My father-in-law, who's Thai, if you don't know, uses a lot. They call it caramel sauce. You also see it called sweet soy sauce. It's like real thick. They say 2 tablespoons, but you can see it's like molasses. So it's kind of a pain to get out, but I thought I'd show you guys. Yeah. I don't give a crap if I get extra because I feel like I always put extra of this in here anyways. Well, that's a good noise. So we'll call that 1. You guys like that? Horny little fuckers. All right, 2. Get that out of there. Like I said, it's good. Again, you're trying to make sure at this point your burner should just be kind of on kind of a lower temp right now, but you're just trying to get this all coated in this stuff and let it have time to soak in, because we're going to actually add a bunch of water in a minute that will turn this kind of, into look like a soup, but then we're going to cook it way down. At this point too, you can add your soy sauce. Again, let everything, soak up in there. Should all be visibly. Alright. You basically just give this a couple minutes maybe. Let it start to soak that in, and then we'll jump back in a sec. So yeah, 4 cups of water, seems like a lot, but we're gonna just add this in here. And the hard part now is that we're gonna just basically, this is gonna sit for like a couple hours, like 2-3 hours, but yeah, same thing, give it a little stir, and then you want it up pretty high. Bring it to a boil. I usually just cover it. Bring it to a boil, and then after you bring it to a boil, you can turn it back down to kind of like a simmer, and cover off because you kind of want it to cook down. So we'll come back and check on this in like 2 hours. All right. At this time, you should probably be enjoying a beer. We've got our hard-boiled eggs going. I hate hard-boiling eggs. You guys figure out your own goddamn technique. But I do put them in there with the cold water and then put it on the burner, turn the burner on. And then I usually go like 7 minutes from boiling. I don't know. You can check on this. As you can see, the burner's turned way down, but we're still boiling here. Again, it's hard to see maybe, but it's still pretty damn soupy, but we've got quite a bit more time. I mean, this was like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes since we last checked in. So we got like, at least an hour and a half left, probably longer. I mean, I'd like to almost go 2 hours from here. Really cook it down. But it doesn't take long. You'll start noticing that your pieces of pork belly are like really getting tender already. But yeah, quick check-in. Yeah, probably will see you guys again at the end to show you what it's supposed to look like. All right, so it's been a couple hours. We've got some different stuff going on here now. Some of the things we got going on. So I've read a bunch on different recipes for this, and I found one that was like put some like basically dried orange peel. I never have dried orange peel, but you know, I usually have these little mini mandarin jams around for the kid. So I like to put one in sometime. It's, you know, classic Asian cooking. You're building flavors, so a little bit of citrus just to kind of build on those flavors. Next, we did the hard-boiled eggs and peeled them. And now we've got them in here soaking, so they're already starting to get browned up, and they'll just keep soaking in those juices. The other thing is, a lot of the oils at this stage, kind of from the fats and stuff, will kind of come to the top. And let's see here. Yeah, you can kind of see here all the oil. So you can kind of, if you wanted to, you could like get some of that out. But the truth of the matter is if you're a meat eater, you know that that's actually where like a lot of the flavor comes from. So I leave it in, but you can make your choice here. You should also be tasting it and kind of making sure it's flavorful. You know, you can add a little more pepper of the white pepper, or you can kind of add a little bit more of the 5 spice, possibly some of the thick soy, caramel soy. But yeah, after that, this is pretty much done. You're gonna pull your orange peel out when you're actually ready to serve, and then I'll show you in a second. Just kind of, you know, put it over rice, cut the egg, serve it. Usually like some green onion on top to kind of mix up the texture. You could add some Asian spicy pickle, but I'll show you that in a second. Okay, and we're done. So, like I said, this is kind of how I like to eat it. Just in a bowl, big old scoop of rice, cover it in some pork. Make sure you get some juice on there so it gets down to the rice. Pull an egg out and cut it in half. A little bit of green onion, and then a little bit of, like I said, spicy pickle. And this is Roa Phan. It's like a little Taiwanese kind of like snack time lunch. But yeah, there you go.